Hello, I'm Jess.
Adam.
And we are forthelandlords.com. We help landlords get more money, reduce their hassle and their time back. And today is another Adam Asks.
Yeah.
So Adam's got questions. He's taking them from all landlords out on the internet, social media. You send your questions
calls,
in,
Zoom calls, all sorts, yeah.
Yep, so you write some more down on a big list and then we discuss them and hopefully get them answered. So today's question is...
Yeah, it is. How and when can I raise my tenant's rent?
Okay.
How and when can I raise my tenant's rent?
This is a big one. This is probably one of the big five.
And it also falls into that thing of you asking yourself, am I getting market rent here?
Yep.
You should all be asking yourself that right now.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go in logical order. I'll answer the question midway through this, and let's talk about why you should. So my personal belief as a landlord is you should. I think it's. Do you know this is if there's any tenants watching this, I think you'd understand. It's the fairest way to do it, to have your rent at market rent. Everything's market price, just is, you know. So mortgages have got a market price. The plumber, the electrician, the guy that does the carpets, the decorating, and they're all market price. If I don't charge market price, and I see this from landlords that don't, I'm going to start cutting corners, and that's not good for a tenant. I can't afford to maintain the property. That is it. So if you're not charging market rent, you're cutting, you're underpricing yourself. You will definitely, either through choice or necessity, because you haven't got the money, be cutting corners, and your tenants don't want to do that. Don't want you to do that. So keeping rents at market rent is important. So first of all, day one, when you rent the property on day one, it should be market rent. Try and get the best price you can. Everything works best for you as a landlord if you can do that, and that means bringing a decent and safe home to the market. Everything, you know, spending that extra 2 or 3% of time and effort and money to make it nicely presented, decent and safe, compliant. You'll get best rent for that, and you'll get a high quality tenant who appreciates that. So that's the first bit. Later on, when I'm answering the real question in the middle, you can see that's how you can get the rent increase. So as time goes on, you've got what's called an assured short hold tenancy, an AST. 1 year later, you would usually diarise to review the rent. I'm not saying increase the rent, you've got to review it. Rents might have gone down, might have gone up. You need to make sure your contract has got the ability to raise the rents either way. Some contracts, a good contract would be upward only perhaps, or we prefer not to have a percentage linked one, because maybe the something, you know, linking it to some other thing other than market rent, you sort of limit yourself. So have a decent contract that allows you to do this. But then the actual piece of paperwork is called a Section 13, and you serve it on your tenant, and you'll put your rents up. There's a process you go through. So you need to speak to the tenant, agree it verbally. That's the best way. I say you've got to go through. You don't have to do it this way, but it's the most sensible way to do it, because who wants the surprise letter? You've got to, you know, explain why and have the conversation. Landlords, so a year is that bit of the answer. With a piece of paper, the Section 13, but the conversation is important. Raise it to the market level at that point, and how do you know what the market level is? A quick search on any of the portals will give you that as an idea. You can, and this is another sort of technique, if you like, and we've used it in the past. You can raise the rent anytime you like if the tenant agrees it.
Yeah, you can.
You can just pick up the phone and say, put your rent up, and if they go, okay, fine, they pay it, that's it, you're done. So you don't have to be quite as, you know, informal, as complicated as a Section 13, although it is best. Even if we have that informal conversation, which is what we try and do every time to agree it, we'll always Section 13 it, because
you need a few
formal
things to be able to section. You need your paperwork to be perfect.
Correct.
In one place
Absolutely.
as well. And you need to do everything in the right process.
You later on, let's say, 5 years later, you're remortgaging.
Yeah.
You put your AST in there, and it's got a certain price, value of rent on it. You need the Section 13s behind it.
Yeah, you
do. There's the common fear from landlords, and we hear it all the time.
My tenant's going to leave, yeah?
My tenant's going to leave. Yeah. But by the way, I think should have pointed it out right at the beginning perhaps, but most self-managing landlords are under rented? What percentage?
Genuinely nearly every
One you
self-managed
see.
landlords I've ever met.
Yeah,
Yeah.
under rented.
And maybe at least one of their houses, if not half of them, or all of them are.
Yeah.
The reality is, in the last 12, 20 to 24 months, rents have gone up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
And I think you still have to keep it fair. Like, if you've got a house, a brand new renovated house down the road, they've moved a new tenant in for 250 quid a month more, you can't suddenly put your own rent up by 250 quid on a tenant. You could try. It's, the reality is it's got to go up kind of in a fair way, but it's got to go up in line with the market, or you're going to struggle when you refinance it.
Yep.
If you were thinking of selling I know a landlord who wants to sell one of his houses, and has been told, no landlord will be able to buy this with a mortgage because your rents are so low. The mortgage company just wouldn't approve of it.
Yep.
So you're doing yourself a disservice. And if your tenant's going to leave, there's two sides to that. One, then that means you will be able to put the rent up even higher than you would have done if the tenant was going to stay. But also, that tenant is going to find, when they start looking for an alternative house, they're going to have to pay what you're putting the rent up to or more.
Correct. So the big fear is your tenant will leave.
Yeah.
The questions
It's not
for them
much
is,
of a fear.
it isn't to be feared, because where would they leave if you're genuinely if your house is decent, safe, and it's worth it, and they're going to another house, where would they go to? At the same.
Yeah.
Often, a notice comes in and then it's rescinded a couple of weeks later because they know they can't find anything. Now, if you've got a dilapidated home with a tenant in, and you know that when they leave you've got loads of money to spend on it, and that's why you're keeping it market rent, that's a different type of danger. I can understand the rationale of not wanting to do those things there, but actually you've got compliance dangers which far outweigh the amount of money we're talking about now. Rent repayment orders, £30,000 fines for non-compliant, whatever, electrics, gas, or whatever. So different part of the question. But if you've got a decent, safe home, you haven't got to worry. Of course, a good letting agency, or if you want to do this yourself, if you keep, and that's why the first phone call is important, and maybe another second phone call afterwards. You've got the opportunity to reverse and walk it back a little bit if you want. It's a negotiation. If the rent's going from 600 to 650 and the tenant says I can only afford 625, you might land on 635. I don't know, but it doesn't have to be hard and fast. That's why I'm saying communication is really, really important. The Section 13 paperwork is official, but the communication around it is important.
If you've got any queries around that, or any questions you want me to answer personally, click the link in the description, which will be there, and you can book directly into my calendar at a time that suits you, and we can have a chat over the phone or by Zoom, and then I can perhaps put you in touch with someone over here who can help you with that.
Yeah, Adam, it's worth mentioning it. We've got a couple of minutes left. Runs or carries out or conducts. What's the word?
Does stuff.
Yeah. Has conversations
with landlords.
With landlords and people who want to be landlords, and we call it a success call. He'll build a business plan for you. If you've got properties already, or you're just starting out, if you've got 5 houses, 50 houses,
we help you build, we help you grow, help you optimise.
So the plan will meet you where you're at, find out where you're at now, describe you where you want to be, and put your path to get there, the steps to get there. And it's a wheel, there's 6 spokes. It's a nice process, but something that once we've done that for you, there's a process we can go through. We call it the 8 ways to maximise profits, and this falls fairly and squarely in there. So the 8 ways to maximise profits are: number 1, reduce your voids; number 2, reduce your maintenance costs; number 3, make sure your arrears are low; number 4 is a save. It's the compliance thing I mentioned. Don't let those hand grenades explode in front of you and cost you loads of money. But then the 5th one is rent increases. The others are mortgages, tax, pay the right amount of tax as a landlord. You might want to be a limited company, etc., etc. And the final one, the 8th one, is either sell a property or buy a property. That's where you crystallise the asset or grow your property portfolio. So once you've got a plan, you can access all of those 8 different ways, and this is one of the big 5, isn't it? That's why I started saying it was one of the big 5. So if you've got this as an issue, then deal with it. But if you're having a conversation with Adam, like I say, click on the link, you'd start dealing with all those other issues as well, and in concert, it's really powerful. I mean, this might be only 5%.
Sure.
But if you make 5% difference on every other thing, it can be the difference between a property being unprofitable and profitable, or mildly or wildly. So it's definitely worth getting in touch and optimising the portfolio.
Okay, I think we've answered that.
We've answered that, hopefully.
Cracking.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Right.
There'll be some more videos coming soon.
Bye for now.
Hold on. Didn't likey.
Oh, we didn't
You always
do
forget.
likey.
You always forget.
Like
No
it.
one does it, but
They do.
like, subscribe.
Why don't you do it?
I never do it when I watch YouTube videos.
Really?
They're terrible. Yeah, I ask people to do
I
it.
dare
They
you
don't
to do it.
I'm gonna
I
have to
dare
stop.
you to like it, and
Yeah.
lots of people subscribe. So subscribe. If you found this useful, subscribe, and you'll keep getting these.
I'm going to
these
start
questions.
doing it now because I ask people to, so I should when I'm watching stuff.
All right. I pledge to like. Is that the one where you thumbs up?
I
Is
showed
that the different-
Lauren like a YouTube channel I really like, and I don't think I've ever liked one of the videos, but I've watched loads, so I'll do it. I'm going to do it. Do it.
Okay.
Like.
it if you liked it. That helps the algorithm. But to help yourself out, subscribe, because these videos come out. They're very specific to people who are landlords or want to be landlords. But if that's you, you've just got to subscribe. All right.
Cool.
All right. We did that one to death at the end with the like and subscribe.
Yeah, it went on a bit too long.
Good though.
See ya.
Bye now.